Hey, what's up everybody? Eternal Fire here, and today we're going to be talking about key bindings. I've had a few comments on videos from viewers talking about how they want to see a video on how to keybind because they still play World of Warcraft via clicking. So the difference between clicking and key binding is when you're targeting your enemy, instead of using the keyboard to use abilities, you are just simply mousing over them and clicking them. So that is what clicking is all about. And it really hinders your mobility, because if you're clicking abilities and you need to move, you have to keyboard turn, run your character, and then keyboard turn back, which wastes a lot of time. When if you're playing on a keyboard, these buttons down here are bound to typically 1 through 0, and what you can do is you can move and hit abilities while using your mouse to look around. You hold down the right mouse button, which is now free because you're not clicking, so you can strafe run while still looking at the target and shooting. So there's a really big benefit to key binding. So you can do this, or if you're clicking, you can't really do that as much if you're running. So that's the difference between clicking and key binding. It really frees up your mobility. It also gives you much better reaction time to different things. So, I just kind of wanted to show a quick difference. And then basically this video is going to be going over the difference between the different styles of key binding. You can key bind your mouse. You can key bind, F1 through, F whatever. You can also do double key binding. So, you'd hit shift and then 1. So let's get into it. First and foremost, if you have not ever used key binding and you're playing World of Warcraft as a clicker, I highly recommend, if you use the arrows to move, I highly recommend learning how to use WASD to run forward and strafe to the side. If you hold the right mouse button down, you can move your character by hitting A and D, W, S to go backward. And then if you hold the left mouse button, you can look around your character without turning away. So if you're attacking the boss and there's a mechanic coming at you, like say a wall of death, you can, without not shooting at the boss, you can turn and look at that mechanic to make sure you're not going to be getting hit by it. So that's again another benefit of key binding. So basically, I put in the I took all my add-ons off, so we just have the generic WoW interface, and you have by default you have on this bottom bar here your action bar. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 all the way through the equal sign on your keyboard. So what you do, if you're not used to key binding and using key binds, you simply hit 1 to use this ability, hit 2 if it's available to use that ability, 3, 4, 5, and so on. So that is how you use those key binds. If you're not used to it, you might want to stop the video here and just start practicing with that. You don't want to overwhelm yourself. The key to key binds is to be really comfortable what you're doing. You have to find something that's comfortable for you. What's comfortable for me, you might absolutely hate, but that's what I'm comfortable with. It's how I keybind. I keybind everything around WASD for myself, and I also keybind to a mouse. Now that feels great for me. I have 13 buttons on my mouse, and I'll tell you a little bit more about that later. But some people might have other preferences, like other things, and that is totally fine. It's a matter of what makes you more comfortable and able to react faster to things in boss fights. So that is the basics of key binding. You have an ability, you take it from your spell book, concussive shot, and we're going to drop it down into the slot. You see 6 right there. We're going to drop it down there, and now when you hit the button 6, we're not going to click it, we're going to hit 6 on the keyboard, you're going to do concussive shot on the target. And likewise, if I hit 4, you're going to see that barrage will go off. So go ahead and hit 4, and now we're barraging. So that's the basics of it. Again, if if this is new to you, then I highly recommend you start practicing that and come back a little bit later. So now to move on to some more advanced things. So I think most players have the 1 through equal sign down here, and the way you can customize this more now is by adding more layers. So you have these abilities up here. I totally undid my hunter's interface for this video. So I just put these abilities up here as an example. So what you want to do is you go to key bindings, hit escape, go to key bindings. You're going to jump down to, well, you have your movement keys, so WSAD to move around like we talked about. And then you're going to go to action bar. And what you see here with action bar is action button 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way through 12, which is the equal sign. And then you have special action bar, but we're not going to worry about those right now. What we're going to go to is the multi-action bar. With the multi-action bar, that is the bar, so you see bottom left action button 1. And that is going to be this ability right here. So I'm going to do F and just move on through. Okay, so as you can see now, those abilities are keybound up here. So if I'm playing the game, I'm attacking my target, I'm having a blast doing mad deeps, and I want to hit another ability, but I don't want to have to click, I don't want to only be able to do 1 through the equal sign, keybound. I want to be able to use other buttons. So say you're on a laptop or you have a small keyboard on your desktop and you want to make use of the F1 buttons, which are pretty popular because they're right above 1 through 0. All you have to do is go to your, again, key binding, multi-action bar, bottom left action button, that's this column here, and then your right action button will be this column here. Okay, so let's go to action bars. Always show action bars for this video. And then, so this is the bottom left, bottom right, right, and the other right. So if you want to bind things to that, you have the right action bar. Let's actually see. Okay, so the right action bar is the furthest right, and then this one is the next one over. So that is how you keybind the F keys. So now you're doing this. You're using these buttons for DPS, and now you have some extra abilities keybound, so you can easily reach your finger up and just use an ability like that. So, as you can see, it's pretty simple. It makes life a little bit easier. So another method of keybinding, if you have a big keyboard and you don't want your F1 through 6 to be hindered, you can go to keybinds. And what you can do is you can do this is the double keybind now. So you can do Shift 1, Shift 2, Shift 3, Shift 4, Shift 5, Shift 6. So right there we have Shift 6. And now some people really prefer this over the F buttons, because with the F buttons you need to go the extra reach. Where pretty much with all keyboards, your pinky finger normally rests pretty easily on the Shift key. So now if I want to hit that ability, let's take Sidewinders for instance. So Sidewinders is button 1. There we go. We use the ability just by hitting 1. But if we want to use Bursting Shot, that's S1, so short for Shift 1. So I just hold down Shift and now hit 1. So I just use Bursting Shot there, and then let go of Shift, and you can use Sidewinders. So now you have, your hands are pretty well rounded around WASD, and to get some extra abilities keybound, you can just hold down Shift, hit an ability, and there you go. So Shift 3 is Concussive Shot, Shift 4 is Binding Shot, let go of it, and you can barrage. So it's as easy as that. Now again, this does take practice, because this is relearning all of your muscle memory. So don't expect to make changes and just feel totally comfortable or love it right away. You do have to take some time and play with it and practice with it. I don't play with the Shift 1 through 6. It's a totally acceptable way to keybind. I know some really good players that do use this method. It's just not what I prefer. I prefer a mouse and a couple F keys. So that's two ways to do it. You can use your F keys as extra keybinds along with your 1 through equal sign. Another thing I really like to do, okay, so take advantage. You go to your action bar, you have all these buttons here. You can do E, Q, F, and just different buttons around your, you can use different buttons around your your WASD that aren't normally used for different things, or if they are but they're not that important, you can move it over. So I always use, like on my warrior for instance, I use E as taunt, Q is shield block, F is charge, and that's just the way I've done it since I started playing WoW. So that's what I'm really used to. And then I have 1 through 6 is keybound. Those are like my main DPS abilities, and then F1 through up there is heals, different defensive cooldowns, stuff like that. So and again, it may look crazy to somebody else, but it makes sense to me. It's very comfortable for me, and I barely have to move my hand around to be hitting buttons quickly, and I'm certainly not having to click. So the last thing I want to talk about in regards to key binding is using a mouse. So I have a gaming mouse with 13 buttons. So I have it programmed to different buttons. Like I have a few buttons bound to the F keys, and that just allows me to use my mouse when I put those buttons in. So let's take go to multi-action bar, and this is something that my mouse came with a little CD-ROM where you could set this up, what you wanted the buttons on your mouse to register as on your keyboard. So let's change this to that. There we go. So that's just some of my buttons, and then we have stuff like that. You can do that. You can bind those things to your mouse. So that's one of my favorite things to do, is just bind buttons to my mouse, because otherwise my right thumb is not going to be doing next to anything on that mouse. So it's just another method to do. If you have any questions regarding that, feel free to hit me up. I think a lot of different gaming mice are different. So one last thing I want to talk about: if you want to set this up, don't expect it to be, necessarily a short process. Again, it takes getting used to, and if you're not used to key binding at all, I highly recommend you only start with a couple buttons at a time, 2 or 3 buttons, try it out, get some practice in, and then as you get comfortable with those 2 or 3 buttons, increase the amount that you're key binding. So you can use your F keys, you can use Shift 1 through whatever, you can use Control through whatever. As you can see here, I chose to do this on my Hunter too, because your pet abilities, you see C1, C2, C3, and so on, they're already keybound. It's Control 4, Control 5, and that's how it's default keybound. So if I want him to attack, I need to hit Control 8, and I need to target something first. Control 8, and that'll make him that'll make him assist. If I want him to attack, I need to make it do C1. My bad. So there you go. Now he attacks, and I didn't have to click anything. I didn't have to reach over and remember what ability. If you just remember, and it becomes muscle memory, Shift 1, and then if I want him to be passive, Shift 0. So there are some add-ons that can really help out with your key binding and helping you get your key binding set up, and that is going to be Dominoes and then Bartender. Those 2 add-ons are have a lot of different options regarding helping you set up key binds. Like basically you could put it in a setting where you just mouse over the ability and then change what the key bind is in that setting. So Dominoes is a little more user-friendly for beginners, and then Bartender has some more, advanced stuff you can do. But those 2 add-ons I would recommend if you want some help. But, it also doesn't hurt to go into the key bindings tab and just kind of learn how to do it on your own as well. Play with it a little bit. But those 2 add-ons are certainly going to help you out. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, found it helpful. If you guys did, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know if you'd like to see any more videos like this. Thanks for watching, and I will see you on the next one.